Good afternoon. Welcome to this Monday segment of Nasdaq IR Insight Live. I'm your host today, Jason Peters, and joining me is Michael Spector, senior analyst here within the real estate team. And today he wanted to give us a little insights into what is blockchain.
We'd call it technology and real estate, but the main. So we actually we participated. We were actually a sponsor of an event last week at the Park Lane. It was an iGlobal forum, and one of the big surrounding or swirling topics of this conference was technology and real estate. So we spoke the day before, and I participated in a roundtable discussion at the event where the central thesis was blockchain and utilizations in real estate.
Sure. So can we just take a quick step back?
Sure.
For all of you that may or may not know, what is, in your terms, what is blockchain?
What is
Technology.
blockchain? Yeah. So there's a lot of, I've heard a lot of definitions, and I've heard a lot of different people explaining it in different ways. Obviously, blockchain's become synonymous with Bitcoin and a global ledger.
Bitcoin, the phenomenal investment.
Right. Well, yeah. At one point it was. A lot of people got rich on Bitcoin. Hopefully they weren't holding it around the top in December. But so a blockchain, really the best definition I heard of a blockchain is a piece of infrastructure, web infrastructure, really a series of protocols that enables users to build decentralized applications on top of it.
Okay, kind of more in layman's terms.
So I've also heard of it where they use this parable to the internet. You use this parable with the internet. If you think about the internet, think about Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. All of these are applications built on top of the internet. So Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is an application built on top of the blockchain or the Bitcoin blockchain. Okay. So we think about a globally distributed ledger, right? Where transactions are imprinted, right, on the block. So think about if you and I were in front of a room of people, right? We're in front of 50 people. And I say, I'm going to give you $100, and you're going to give me, you're going to paint my house on the 16th of the month, right? If you ask those 100 people, they're going to tell you that what they saw was me giving you $100 and you agreeing to paint my house on the 16th. If one person tries to refute that or go back on it and say it didn't happen, there's still 99 other people that say we saw this deal where Michael gave Jason $100 and Jason agreed to paint his house, right? Which creates transparency around a transaction.
And that's pretty much the key to this whole thing, right? Transparency
for a global ledger, right? So when we think about
now we're looking at this, and so now we have the global ledger, the transparency. Kind of blending the two. You're on the real estate side here. Now, what are some ways you think that real estate companies and REITs could potentially implement, if they have not done so already, implement this blockchain technology?
Sure. I mean, obviously, real estate is a transaction-based business, right? We're talking about commercial real estate. So let's look at apartment owners, right? I own an apartment building. I want to market this. If I want to sell this asset, me as the buyer, I need to have representation from a realtor. I need someone to do auditing, a bank for financing, because if I'm going to buy an asset and I'm not paying cash for it, it's going to be financed through a bank, right? So as the potential buyer, I'm doing diligence on a commercial asset. The bank who's lending me money to buy this asset is doing diligence on an asset.
Correct.
And using the blockchain, this process could be streamlined. And essentially what we could do, and we're going to talk about smart contracts as an application also. Eventually what we're doing is eliminating some of the, I guess the best way to say it is eliminating the middlemen,
right,
which cuts the costs, increases transparency to the deal.
And profitability,
right. So with smart contracts, if we're building upon the Ethereum network, I mean, blockchain enabled smart contract use as well, but when we think of smart contracts, we really think about building on the Ethereum network. So if we're taking part in a transaction and it's done using smart contracts, the terms of the deal are built into the contract, right?
Sure.
So essentially, think of it as a digital. We have a paper contract, right? It says I'm going to buy this for X. This building is assessed at X value. This is what occupancy is. This is what rent roll is. This is rent roll history, etc. We have a contract. There's legal ramifications. We can cut out all of the archaic paper trail and all of the people working in the middle of this deal, because now we have a digital lease with the terms of the deal built into it already.
Got it.
You're going to sign this deed over to me. All of that, the blockchain is secure. All of that's done over the blockchain. I agree to pay you X on this date. You release the digital key to me, etc. So think about it in terms of that. We're cutting out a lot of this.
A lot. There's still going to be the
aspects
of due
right.
diligence. There has to be.
Right. Management.
The physical part of it, I would say. Right?
Management, brokers, title companies, auditors, etc. Like, we can cut out a lot of this middle work through blockchain technology.
Sounds great. Now, say some of these real estate companies, they do start picking up, and I'm not aware of any of them that are using it just yet, but say that this does come on and become a major thing, major event. Do you think that could potentially create any new asset classes?
Sure. I mean, there was a REIT out of the UAE at this conference that's issuing an asset-based token representing equity in this REIT that's built on top of the blockchain.
Got it.
So look, there's a lot of skepticism around traditional ICOs. There were a lot of ICOs, especially when Bitcoin peaked in December. There were ICOs for everything, right? A lot of them weren't using traditional auditors or book runners, and they weren't asset-backed, right? This creates a new class because we have a token that's asset-backed. We have secure transactions where if I'm this REIT, I can go out, I have an acquisition pipeline, I raise money through the issuance of this token, I go out, I buy properties, and then I pay my investors a dividend issued through a digital token.
Okay.
I believe the token is convertible into Swiss francs. So we have a stable fiat currency.
So that's
backing
something
it as
that
well.
we'd have to see move on to U.S. and then eventually.
Right. I'm sure there's regulatory issues, but it's a pretty interesting concept, especially your dividend payments sent to your digital wallet every single quarter.
Okay.
In a secure transaction. So, I mean, I'm sure people are watching this. It could be or really open the door, be the gateway
to
this new digital currency real estate asset-backed token.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. I mean, do you have any idea of what this time frame could be like or anything like that?
It would just be speculation.
Right.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know if they're the first to even do this, but I've heard it's been marketed already, and they have an acquisition pipeline in the works. They have some cornerstone, high-quality Class A assets backing this token.
Sure.
Which is something. It's a real asset.
Right.
It's something tangible.
Correct.
Rather than saying I'm going to issue this token. A lot of ICOs were doing, for an X amount, a 400 ETH contribution, we're going to give you a bonus on the ICO. A lot of these kind of irregular around the margin type
early
deals.
Investor, so
right.
You're going to get a little extra.
This is a new breed. It's more vanilla. It creates more validity to the ICO market and to the realist or blockchain applications and real estate argument, I would think, as well. So,
well, all fascinating stuff. I guess this concludes our Monday segment of Nasdaq IR Insight Live. Thanks again, Michael, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And be sure to tune in tomorrow. We have, I believe, Tamar and Masood likely discussing the energy space.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.